Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind Hey HR. We are going to talk all about DEI. It's a very, very hot topic that all employees are talking about, all employers are talking about, and personally, in my opinion, I could definitely be wrong, but I feel like it became more of a hot topic after we went through the pandemic, when a lot of people were trying to look at ways that they wanted to be comfortable. They realized they had this comfort level at home. I don't have all of the stress that I have, but I'm still getting my work done. How can I make sure that they make me feel included? They make me feel equal. They make me feel more comfortable with diversity. And a lot of employers started saying, you know what, we need to look into DEI more. The other way that I feel like DEI has become such a big topic is through the Black Lives Matter movement. And so I could totally be wrong. That's not based on any statistics, no facts. Just personally me, working in HR for 10 years, it became a hot topic as soon as folks started wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts and doing riots and everything else. So that's just me and my personal opinion. Shoot me down if I'm wrong. But it's definitely a big topic. You're now seeing a lot more job opportunities for HR professionals, particularly aimed at the DEI area. So let's just dive right into it. Diversity is a variety or an inclusion of people of different races, cultures, and so many other things in a group or within an organization. Because I think we all get confused. We hear DEI and we think it's one word. It's not one word. So D stands for the diversity, E is equality, I is inclusion. So equality or equity means justice according to natural law or right. And then inclusion obviously means the act or practice of including and accommodating people who have historically been excluded. So that would include people who have been excluded because of their race, their sexuality, or their ability. We're seeing all types of jobs that's being created to help make a company feel, look, recruit talents according to this whole DEI initiative, or what they think that an employee may be concerned about, and may make them kind of hold off on accepting a job offer. Some of the new job titles that I'm seeing kind of floating around, or the most common ones I'll say, is DEI manager. You also have the diversity program manager. You also have the employment equity manager. You have the equality manager. You have the culture manager. There's some companies that's taking it a little bit different, and they're really coming up with creative names to call the DEI person. And I think that that's awesome too. I think that shows a company that took it up a notch and maybe looking for a little bit more than just someone that's going to focus on this, but truly looking to make companies or employees feel like they're included, like they belong, like they are a part of the organization and not just another employee or another number. So that's, again, my personal opinion. The biggest overall job of any HR professional who's focused on DEI initiatives is to make sure that they're using and understanding and implementing qualitative and quantitative evaluation methods. So that means you don't want to just look at, let me pull a roster of all our employees and see who all is Black, who all are not white, who all are Hispanic, who all are... No. You're going to look at that and then you're going to say, okay, now I see how many employees we have that are of this race. How many do we have that are male? How many do we have that are female? How many do we have that are transgender? How many do we have that are non-binary? And then you're going to say, where are they located within the organization? Are they all within this department? Are they all within that department? Are they all at this pay scale? Are they all at that pay scale? Do they lead a team? Are they all brand new? Have we had this existing for a while? Of our recruiting efforts and all of the diverse candidates that we attract, how many of them are in this category? How many of them in this category? Regardless if we hire them or not, are we even attracting diverse candidates? So there's a whole lot more that you can look into with that, but that's just a taste of what the quality and quantity means, right? So another thing is that it helps organizations to evaluate and assess. So that example still showed you how you're going to evaluate and then assess it. One thing that people seem, or I will say companies, in my opinion, I feel like companies focus this DEI initiative on just attracting candidates. First of all, you have the EEOC laws that are required. So people always get a little alarmed, like, well, Tamika, do I have to fill in that questionnaire that says, are you a male or a female? Are you a past veteran? Do you have any disabilities? See, all of those questions that you get asked separately from your employment application are literally questions that are mandated by federal law. So that's why you're seeing them everywhere. Keep in mind that if a company has put those questions into their applicant tracking system correctly, or even if they have it on an application correctly, that information should always be retracted from your employment application before a hiring manager sees it. So normally HR has access to that information, but not decision makers, right? So that's the first thing. Don't be alarmed with that. That's just them trying to collect that data so they can always be ready if they ever get audited to say we're very diverse in our recruiting efforts. The next thing that diversity also includes is not just who we are attracting, but who are we retaining. Over time, we should always be assessing how diverse our candidate pool is, how diverse our employee population is, what type of jobs are they doing. We always want to make sure that we don't forget to include that other area. So we always pay attention to race and sex, right? So those are like always the big things. No, there's a lot more that goes with diversity. We always want to see, are we allowing someone that may have a handicap that doesn't prohibit them from doing this job? Are we allowing someone that may make us look at if we can accommodate them versus someone that may need no accommodations? And so diversity goes a lot farther because people get so excited about these DEI jobs, and honey, it ain't what you think. It's difficult if you want to be successful. I'm not going to say it's difficult. It takes a lot of creative thinking. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of partnerships with external stakeholders, not just your folks inside your organization. It takes forever learning because it's a very, very new initiative. So I get a little alarmed because I noticed that primarily African American females run for that DEI job thinking, I can do that. No, baby. It's a lot more than just us Black sisters. Like, we got to be diverse and equal and include everybody. All right, so we're going to talk about that. But when I started telling y'all, hey girl, you're going to get into a whole lot more in diversity than just looking out for your African American brothers and sisters or making sure that we're being treated fair, then I want to give you some examples of what that looks like. So I currently work in a very diverse organization. I currently work with a global organization that has 5,000 employees, right? So some of the things that I noticed that I was like, you know what? This is something new to pay attention to. Oh, this looks a little different than my traditional. Is that Black History Month for African Americans in the U.S. is in February, right? Every year it's the month of February. Well, Black History Month for those who are in the UK, it's in the month of October. Newsflash. Holidays across the globe vary, and they're not the same. Everyone's not celebrating Christmas. Everybody's not celebrating Labor Day. Everybody's not celebrating 4th of July. Definitely not 4th of July. 4th of July is the U.S.'s Independence Day. Other countries have their own Independence Day. Majority of the time, we do acknowledge that summertime is during the summer when majority of our kids are out of school. Well, there are some countries where not just the kids are out of school, employees are out of work. It's just very, very diverse. You have to know on a global aspect how you're going to accommodate yourself. Definitely there are tons of different laws. I mean, don't even get me into the laws. That's where you have your HR experience that should back you up. You definitely should have your HR department that also supports you with staying current with that information. So we're not going to get into laws because we'll be here all night. But one thing I will tell you is that there are some religious interferences that can interfere with an employee's work, and how should your company handle it? How should your company make sure that that person's okay, or that we're accommodating that, or that we are recognizing that, or that we're simply allowing them to have that time? Some examples could be that Catholics need rosary time during their workday. It could be that a Seventh-day Adventist person decides or knows that they're not going to work on Saturdays. See, everybody thinks that the whole religious day is on Sunday. Not everybody. Jehovah's Witness. Maybe they didn't get vaccinated because they really don't like the transfer of different bloods and other medical limitations. So maybe this whole vaccine fits into that as well. And then here we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, but did we realize that that crossed over into 2 months? That's not literally in September. It's not literally in October. It starts mid-September and ends on over into October. Did we think about that? We're so used to every month that we celebrate something that's in that month. It's a little bit different for Hispanic Heritage Month. And then one thing I would like to know that is definitely new for the US is how do you balance celebrating Juneteenth, which happens on June 19th every year, along with Gay Pride Month that takes care of that whole month of June. So how do you make sure to acknowledge both of those aspects of a holiday or appreciation and not cross the boundaries where one doesn't feel as included as the other? And then another thing, did we think about the fact that Muslims, they pray 5 times a day, even during work hours? Y'all, that's just some examples. I'll tell you some examples that I noticed that made me feel inclusive when I worked with a diverse company. It was so nice that the name Tamika was no longer a weird name or a unique name. It became an easy name. I will tell you that I noticed that my name came so easy, not just in the United States, but across the globe. I also noticed that I can go into work one day with my hair really short I can go to work another day with my hair really long. The whole meeting doesn't stop to ask me, how did you do that with your hair? See, we have to pay attention to the small microaggressions or small micro differences, because those things are things that contribute into someone feeling inclusive. We always have to pay attention to the small conversations we may have right before we have a meeting. If someone comes in and they don't feel inclusive in that meeting, you have to be careful to say, what are some ways I can make this person feel inclusive right on the spot? How can you make sure that you're embedding this into your culture so that it doesn't become something that you're constantly getting asked, hey, this just happened, what do I do? But something that becomes a second nature for your employees, for your leaders, for your staff. I love talking about DEI initiatives. I have absolutely no problem talking about it. I think one of the biggest examples of showing that I had no problem talking about it is that you can check out this video where I tell you all about my 3 biggest struggles in my career. And at the end of that video, I told you all about how I didn't feel appreciated, included, or what have you. So you can definitely check that video out. I'll put it in the links below. But I would love to know, what makes it important to you? Or what do you think? Do you think it shouldn't be as important? Like, we should have already been diverse? So why are we talking about this now? I'd love to know it in the comments below. If you found any value in this video, please consider subscribing. There's nothing but more amazing videos on the way. So you just may want to go ahead and hit the bell so that you get alerts and you can be notified every time I upload a new video. For those of you who are new, welcome to Hey HR. For those of you who are returning, I definitely appreciate your support. I can't wait to see y'all on the next video.